Howdy, y'all. Caleb here, and we have the new points: the FAQ, the errata, the Battlescroll. I guess they're calling it the Battlescroll now. So we have an update for Seraphon, and let's see what it did for us. We're gonna hit some of these quickly, and then get into the Ark of Sotek. So we had some point changes. The Bastiladon with Ark of Sotek went down 20 points to 165. Is it a takeable model now? Will it see the table? We'll find out here in a minute. Bastiladon with Solar Engine went up 15 points. You all know that that's one of my favorite models. We see that a lot in Thunder Lizards, so you're going to have to make room for an extra 15 points in your list, or an extra 30 points if you were running two of them. I like to run two of those in my list, so I've got to come up with an extra 30 points for those two Bastiladons with Solar Engines. Ripperdactyl Chief went down a few points. Still not going to see the table. I'm sorry to say it, guys. Ripperdactyls, I used to love Ripperdactyls in the previous edition. Not seen the table since. Ripperdactyl Riders also, they went down another 10 points, but they just really don't fill a role. They could be, like your cheap chafe unit that you're sending up the board, but their save is terrible. They don't have enough wounds, and they're just not going to do enough. They don't count as enough on objectives. They're just not. They don't really have a role. So I think you're going to continue until they get a new War Scroll. They're going to continue to not really see the table at all. Pterodon Riders went down 10 points. They're okay. They're better than Ripperdactyl Riders. They can still do those mortals on, as they drop their rocks. So after a move, they can drop their rocks and do some mortals. They're okay that way, but they're so fragile. They have that 6-up save, and they will just get absolutely deleted in this meta where there's a lot of damage in this game. I don't know if you've noticed. In Age of Sigmar 3, there's a lot of damage. Salamanders. This one is the one we were all waiting for. What are they going to do to the Salamanders? And they did go up in points, not hit as hard as some thought, but they did go up 20 points for the Salamanders. So if you're running a block of 2, make an extra 40 points in your list. It's going to be tight. If you're running kind of a Salamander spam list, which I think we might look at in the next video, what does that do for our list building? Can you still spam those Salamanders? It's going to be a lot harder. 20 points per Salamander is a lot. It's crazy to think that these guys were originally released at 80. Was it 80 when the book first came out? And they've been slowly creeping them up. So maybe 140 will stick, and we'll see him stay here for a while. I don't know. Some other things of note, Gotrek, I wanted to highlight him down here. Gotrek went up 50 points. Whew, that's a big one. I think he's pretty easy to play around for your opponent, and so it's a hefty investment at almost 500 points, 485 to take him into your list, but still has a lot of damage output, can tank a lot. So if you're still looking for that god level melee beast in your army, maybe Gotrek's still that answer. 50 points is pretty tough bump for him, especially not getting any kind of rules updates like some of the other gods did in this edition. Also of note, I'm sure you've seen it around, but Unleash Hell, the Overwatch for AOS, got changed to where now the models have to be within 6 inches to fire, and so that's a pretty big update. Think about that for your Skinks or your Bastiladons if you're firing those off in Unleash Hell, that you need to look for that 6-inch range now. And the other big change, Amulet of Destiny is dead. Basically, it's gone to a 6-up ward save now. And luckily that won't affect us too much. I love taking it on like my Engine of Gods. That was nice. Putting it on a Carnosaur made the Carnosaur to where he might actually stick around for a turn. For our Skink Chiefs, a lot of times we would be taking Cloak of Feathers anyway. Now this definitely pushes us towards our Battle Tome artifacts, and we have some great ones. The Stegodon Helm gives us +1 to save and +1 damage on the charge. That's the +1 to save is what you're taking it for, and that's still a great artifact. Cloak of Feathers is fantastic, and you still have one that will let you come back on resurrect if you've been killed on a 4-up. And so we still have some great artifacts to take, and we don't have to lean on that crutch of Amulet of Destiny like some of the other armies did. So not too bad. I'm glad to see Amulet out of the game, because it's pretty annoying when you go up against those Mega Gargants with Amulet or Maw Crusher with Amulet. So that's a good change. But the point of this video is we're going to look at the Bastiladon with Ark of Sotek. Is this model worth taking? It's dropped down in points a couple times now since they wrote this war scroll. Is it finally worth taking? So to recap, I want to highlight this war scroll. This is such an interesting war scroll that they gave the Bastiladon with Ark of Sotek. And we're looking here at this line for Ark of Sotek. It's got 3-inch range. It's got 18 attacks in melee. This is interesting. 18 attacks. They hit on 4s. They wound on 6? You gotta be kidding me. Maybe there's another war scroll in the game that has that bad of a wound profile, but I don't know of one. A wound of 6 means you're not getting much through to their saves. And even if you do, you've got no rend, and it's only doing 1 damage. Now, the saving grace of this is on those 18 rolls, 6s to hit are going to do a mortal. So that's where you're thinking, well, I'm rolling a lot of dice. You're going to average 3 mortals, maybe? And this is in melee. So this Bastiladon, which only moves 5, has to get into melee to hit off 3 mortals. It does have a bludgeoning tail, which is the same that the solar engine has. And it does have a few javelin tosses from its skinks. Really aren't going to do much, those javelins, 5s and 4s. Again, a terrible profile there. So it's not doing much in melee. What do the actual raw numbers look like? Let's look at the actual raw numbers here. And this is what you can expect to see on average the damage output for the Bastiladon with Ark of Sotek. And you're seeing here, we're getting 3.5 damage through on a 4-up save. That's pretty pathetic. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty pathetic. Once we add it, like if we look at adding the tail in there and the javelins, we're adding a little bit more damage, but not much. And so in total, this Ark of Sotek is not doing much damage. You're thinking it's only 165 points for a monster with a 1-up save. It can tank some damage, that's for sure, but it can't kill anything. You know, you throw some skinks into this Bastiladon, and the skinks are going to stick around for you for a few turns. It's sad. It cannot deal with generic battle line chafe. It just can't. But let's say we buff this thing up. We're going to buff it up with a +1 to hit aura, or the +1 to hit all out attack from either just the generic command traits or a skink priest. Well, let's put the skink star priest staff on it for 6s to wound, do mortal wounds. So now we're getting mortal wounds on the hits and the wounds. We have lots of attacks. All that combined with the tail, the javelins, and the arc, you're still only looking at about 8.5 damage versus a 4-up save. Even buffed up with about 200 points of heroes, you're still not clearing a screen. You're still not clearing a 10 wound, 4-up save chafe unit. So it's a pretty sad damage output, even if you buff this things up. Now you're thinking it's only 165 points. It's a monster. You're not going to get any monstrous battle tactics with this thing because it won't do any damage. So you might get monstrous takeover maybe, but you can get that with anything in our army, just about. So its damage is very pathetic. I was trying to figure out how could I use this if I was going to put this in an army. How could I use this? And this is the only thing I could come up with. Let's spam 3 of them with an Engine of the Gods. So the engine's going to heal it, and you're going to use these 3 to just like block off an objective. This objective is mine. I've got essentially 20 models worth on here. If you can position it right on the table, nobody can get through these things. You'll just keep buffing these guys up. Each one's going to have a 6-up ward save because of the terrain. You'll probably bless the other one from the start of the priest on the engine, and you'll heal them up as much as you need to. So maybe this would work. I think that's about 700 points for that loadout there. 3 Bastiladons. Now, obviously, the ones here are the solar engines. I'm not crazy, but let's pretend they're Ark of Soteks. That's 700 points to secure 1 objective for a game, and it might not even work. So I don't know if you've got some strategy for this, I've been racking my brain since the price dropped 20 points. I mean, granted, I know it's only 20 points, but how can I play around with these? And it's just not working. They're not doing any damage. I can get the same resiliency from a Bastiladon with the solar engine, and that solar engine will actually reach out and kill things. And now, the solar engine's not doing a ton of damage, but I can double fire it in Thunder Lizards. Um, and I can do that damage from a long way away, where these guys have to be in melee to do it. One thing I was thinking about, how could I fix this Bastiladon with Ark of Sotek? And I think you've just got to, points aren't going to do it. I mean, maybe if you get it down to 100 points or something, it might be worth taking a couple just for the wound sink of that 1-up save. But I think it needs to rewrite this melee profile. We can keep the 18 attacks, have a 3-up, 3 to hits, 3s to wound, -1 rend, 1 damage. This is like a super basic melee profile that you see on a ton of stuff in Age of Sigmar 3. This is fairly easy, fairly simple. On its own, not going to do a ton of damage. I think you move that ability to do 6s to hit, do mortals, down to a 5 to hit, does a mortal. And now you're looking at about 10 to 11 damage from this monster in melee. You've still got to get them there. So you can't point this thing too aggressively because it moves incredibly slow. This is a 5-inch move monster. And so it can still be cheap. And when it gets there, it does damage. That's what it needs to be. It needs to kind of be a scary thing that's crawling up the field. And then finally, when it gets to you, it's spitting out these snakes and spitting out mortals all over the place. This would be a simple fix. And still, this isn't going to, rule the world here. We're talking about 10 damage. In Age of Sigmar 3, that's all over the place. And so maybe that could help fix the Ark of Sotek. Overall, I don't think even at 165 it's getting played. For 90 points more, we can get the solar engine. I think that's well worth it to upgrade. If you're stuck with 165 and you're looking for something to do some damage, the Ark of Sotek, it ain't it. Maybe I've missed something. Let me know in the comments below if you've got an idea for this Ark of Sotek. Are you teleporting it around, charging it in, and then doing your 3 damage? Maybe there's something I'm missing, guys. It's such a cool model. I love the snakes. I wish it was better. All right, guys. What a fun video. Next one, we're going to look at the salamanders. All right, we'll see you in the next one.